Hello fellow Clashers, welcome to another episode of Challenge Winning Decks. Today we're going to be doing a Hog Rider Trifecta deck that uses the Fireball instead of the Poison, and also uses the Ice Spirit instead of the Elixir Collector. This deck was provided to me by Collin Neff, leader of Son of a Witch, and proud supporter of this channel. Before I start talking about how to use this deck, I wanted to let you guys know that I am coming up to 1,000 subscribers. We're going to be doing a 1,000 subscriber Q&A, so leave your questions in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer the best ones. In addition, you can find me on Facebook and add me as your friend. First name is KairosTime, last name is Gaming. By doing that, you can watch me play live as I am playing in challenges and in the ladder, and also it will allow me to do my newest series that I'm going to be working on called Kairos Coaches, where I do my best to give coaching to players in all arenas. That being said, let's go ahead and get talking about this deck. So, some interesting notes about Trifecta. Trifecta has been a very popular deck for a very long time. Because this is a very common combination, people are really good at anticipating your next move, so you need to try and catch your opponent off guard. You'll see that big mistake right there, mistimed zap. We all make mistakes, but the important thing is that we learn from them. Now, we're going to try and catch our opponent off guard. This is really important, especially because you'll notice that we don't have the Elixir Collector. We switched that out for the Ice Spirit, and that being said, you're going to be doing playing this deck a little bit differently by, rather than doing damage over time, trying to catch her off guard with some good strong pushes. You're also going to be using the Ice Spirit, and so that's going to help you to cycle through to your Hog Rider faster, and it's more of a Hog Cycle deck than the traditional Hog Trifecta. Now you're going to be able to catch your opponent off guard the best as you use unique pushes that most Hog Trifecta players don't commonly use. For example, the Hog Rider Ice Spirit. Now this is kind of a common one since the addition of the Ice Spirit, but it's a difficult one to counter, especially if your opponent doesn't have some type of a defense to play against the Hog Rider, because that Ice Spirit is going to be able to freeze whatever defensive troop your opponent decides to use, and then that's going to give you some extra time for your Hog Rider to get some damage onto the tower. The next push that you can do is a unique one where it's a Valkyrie Goblin push. That's right, I don't usually use the Valkyrie on as a major offensive troop, but by placing the Goblins right behind the Valkyrie, they will actually push her to the tower faster than she can move on her own, and that can catch your opponent off guard. It's a hard combo to take care of unless they have the right cards to take care of it. Now, right here you're going to see I'm actually not showing a replay of me playing. This is Collin Neff, not the challenge winning replay, but a battle against somebody that is using the Lava Hound. I wanted to include this because Lava Hound decks are getting more popular, and they are not super easy to combo when you're playing the Trifecta deck. Now, Collin does an excellent job. He's able to handle these Lava Hound decks with ease, and there's a reason why. We'll get to that later, but for right now, I did want to mention again some other unique pushes that you can make in this deck is the Hog Rider Valkyrie push. Yes, just like the Goblins will push the Valkyrie faster to the tower, the Hog Rider will do it as well as long as he is directly behind her. Now, the next push right here was stopped by a rocket, but it's a very strong one where you have the Musketeer, Hog Rider, Ice Spirit combination. Now that's a strong one because that Ice Spirit is going to do a couple different things. Oftentimes people will try and counter this by using a mini P.E.K.K.A. or something like that to get rid of, or even a Valkyrie to get rid of the Musketeer, and that Ice Spirit will freeze whatever they decide to place down there, and that makes it difficult for them to truly get away without taking any damage, because that Ice Spirit will freeze them and your Hog Rider is bound to get some damage onto the tower. Now, what Collin is doing in this matchup is he is being very careful about when he's placing his Musketeer. I had a conversation with him, and he said that usually he will not use the Musketeer on offense unless the Musketeer was previously used to defend against a Lava Hound. Now, he's very careful about when he's pushing, and you'll see that he's even using his cannon as a distraction because those lava pups are so good at taking stuff out. Now, his musketeer, he was able to cycle back to the musketeer in time to be able to defend against this air push, and all the while he's using his hog rider and the Valkyrie to make successful pushes all the way down to the tower. You need to be very careful about how you are playing against these Lava Hound decks because of that. You'll see right there he saved his Fireball for just the right moment so that his Hog Rider could get some really good damage on that tower. And this deck is very strong against this if you play it correctly, and you'll see Collin doing so exactly as he should, able to stop even this strong Lava Hound deck using the Mega Minion. Now, another type of deck that you're going to be seeing a lot of right now is still the Giant Poison. This might be another difficult matchup, but just like facing the Lava Hound, the trick is to attack the opposite tower of where your opponent placed their Giant. By doing this, you'll be able to make some pretty good pushes and make sure that your opponent cannot build a solid push behind that Giant. That is the key to playing against this type of a troop, or that type of a deck, and if you do it right, then you'll be very fine. Now, the trick to defending is using your Musketeer and your Valkyrie to clear troops, but also the Fireball. The Fireball is a very key player in here. By using the Fireball and the Musketeer, you can very easily clear a lot of troops that are used backed up behind the Giant, which is what a lot of Trifecta decks have a difficult time playing against. Now, right here, Collin is facing off against somebody in the 12th round where he won against a minor chip cycle. His opponent does not play very seriously once he realizes that he's going to lose, but that's just simply because Collin is so good at playing against him. Minor chip cycle decks are becoming more and more popular, and usually because they will include the Inferno Tower in there with them. You'll see how Collin takes care of that Inferno Tower by using the Valkyrie as a distraction, the Ice Spirit as a possible addition there. He might have zapped just a little prematurely, but he was still able to get some good damage onto that tower because of that Valkyrie right there. It's a strong combo. Another thing that you can use is that Hog Rider, Musketeer, Ice Spirit combination to make sure that you're able to clear the Inferno Tower and still make it back to your opponent's tower. You can also try to cycle back to your Hog Rider very quickly by using Valkyrie Goblin pushes and Hog Rider Ice Spirit pushes so that your opponent does not have the Inferno Tower up when you're ready to do your Hog push. Other common matchups include the Hog Rider Trifecta deck. Now, Hog Rider Trifecta decks are very interesting to play when you are both using Hog Rider Trifecta. They can be very drawn out, and it's usually the first person to make their first mistake that ends up losing. So you'll have to be very careful, but by trying to catch your opponent off guard with the Fireball at the right time, you can even get the strongest Trifecta deck user to be able to make a mistake and take a victory against them. The last deck that you can play against is the P.E.K.K.A. Double Prince. You saw me make a match against a P.E.K.K.A. Double Prince user. P.E.K.K.A. Double Prince was a very common deck when Hog Trifecta was very first gaining some popularity, and there's a reason why. It's very strong, so I did want to make sure to include that replay. If you have issues with that, go ahead and check the replay. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, everybody. I love putting videos out there, and I love all the feedback. So go ahead and put those comments in there, leave your questions. Thank you so much. This is KairosTime ticking by, and we'll see you in the arena.